Hello everyone, my name is Katie. I am the Introverted Reader, and yes, I'm wearing the same shirt because I'm filming 2 videos today and I couldn't be bothered changing. But this is going to be a wrap up for the Introverted Reader Readathon, which I also did this month. It's my own readathon that I take part in. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I had a good time. If any of you took part in it, thank you so much. I know I wasn't very active, just work was quite hectic this month, but we did get some reading done. However, I wasn't able to get to one of the books that I picked out because my dumbass picked out like big chunky books to read for this readathon. And the one book that I didn't manage to get to was A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. This was actually for the prompt for get a friend or family member to pick out a book for you, and my sister picked this one out for me to read. I do feel bad that I didn't get to it, but I will be reading it in October, so hopefully she won't be too mad at me that I didn't get to the one that she picked out. But I am excited to get to it next month, but I will talk about it a little bit more in my October TBR, which I don't know when I'll film. If I have the energy later today, I might, but I don't know. But anyway, back to the wrap up. The books that I did finish. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is for the prompt to read a book that has been on your shelf for way too long. And I basically just went to my shelf, reached out and grabbed this book, and I was just like, I'm gonna read this one. And that was Circle of Shadows by Evelyn Skye. This has been on my shelf for like way more than a year. I want to say like a year or more. And it's a high fantasy book about this elite group of warriors called Taigas, and they're like the greatest warriors in all the land, and our two main characters are apprentices, and they are close to graduating, but then one day on a scouting mission they find this mysterious group of people, and then they go and investigate these people, only to find that the enemies that they were at war with 10 years previous have now come back again. So everything kind of unravels from there. I really enjoyed my time reading this. I actually listened to the audiobook for it because it's quite a chunky one, and I thought, I'll get through the audiobook that bit quicker, which I did, and I really enjoyed it. And I have the sequel to read for October, but again, I'll talk about it more in the wrap up. And it kind of matches my shirt, doesn't it? Anyway, so yes, I really enjoyed this. There was a little bit of insta-love in there towards the end, but I can let that go. But like, I really like the magic system. I really love the mythology behind the island that they all live on. I love the whole like premise of the characters and stuff like that. I really enjoyed all the action, and I did enjoy the characters. I did, like, there wasn't any of them that I didn't like dislike. So yes, I enjoyed my time reading this, and I can't wait to read the sequel. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. The next one that I managed to read and finish was for the prompt to read a middle grade, and I read Furthermore by Tahara Moffey. This is a story about a girl called Alice, and she lives in a world full of color, and she is the only one in her village that doesn't have any color. She is pure white. Her hair is white. She doesn't even have any color in her eyes. Like, her skin is like snow. Like, she is blank in a world full of color. And Alice lives quite a solitary life. Her mother doesn't really pay that much attention to her. She doesn't really have that many friends, but she kind of keeps to herself, and she's kind of going through it because her father went missing a couple of years before. And then this mysterious boy shows up at her door and basically says, I know where your father is, but you need to help me come and find him. And they kind of go on like this sort of like Wonderland-esque type adventure, and they have to go into this place called Furthermore, which is very twisted and very dangerous. Like, this book got dark for a middle grade. I mean, I don't read a lot of middle grade. I kind of want to rectify that. I do want to rectify that as the month goes on, but from my perspective, this was dark for a middle grade. Like, sometimes it went there and I was like, oh, Oh wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that. But I did really enjoy the story, and like if you're a fan of Alice in Wonderland, you'll really really like this. I really liked Alice as a character. I thought a lot of the writing was beautiful. Like I love the way Tahara Mafi writes. Like she's writing like third person. It's like a narrator telling you the story about Alice. And yeah, I love Tahara Mafi's writing, and I thought this book was really really well done. I do understand that there's like a sequel or a companion novel to this, so hopefully I'll get to reading that soon. But all in all, I think I give Furthermore 3.5 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next few books that I read was for the prompt to read a graphic novel or a manga, and I picked out Fence Volume 1 and Fence Volume 2. Now this is a graphic novel series set in a fencing school, and basically our main character Nicholas, not this guy, but our main character Nicholas basically wants to get into this fencing school really really bad because his father was like a fencing champion, and he kind of he hasn't seen his father in a whole lot of years because he's an illegitimate child. Like his father didn't marry his mother whenever she had him. So because he was already married before, but it's a whole drama. But anyway, he wants to get into this fencing school so that he can sort of follow in his father's footsteps. And he gets there and he sort of realizes that like everyone that goes to this school is like uber kids or like wonder kids when it comes to fencing, and he sort of finds himself in like sort of like a little fish big pond type of thing. And you know, he gets mixed up into the top like politics of the school and everything, and it's really just all about who is going to represent the school at the championships, because the school hasn't won a championship in a good lot of years and they really want to rectify that. So there's a whole lot of that and a lot of drama as well. And I hear there's going to be a little bit of a gay romance in here, which totally here for. Give me the gay, am I right? But anyway, all in all, I did really enjoy reading these. I thought they were really fun and I really love the story. And I'm really excited to carry on. I don't know how many volumes there are out of it as of yet. I think maybe only about 3 or 4 at present, but I'll definitely be reading them, and I gave each of these respectively 4 out of 5 stars. The next one that I finished was for the prompt to read a book in a series that you want to finish. And for that prompt, I read Capturing the Devil by Kerry Maniscalco. This is the 4th and final book in her Stalking Jack the Ripper series. This one is set in New York and Chicago, because in the 3rd one, they were on a ocean liner crossing over from London to New York. So this one starts off with them in New York, and then the latter half is them in Chicago. This is not my favorite of the series, I will say. There wasn't really enough of the murder mystery in there for me personally. It was a lot more about the relationship between our 2 main characters, and I do love them together as a couple, but I wanted more of the murder mystery. Like, you know, I needed more of that aspect for it. Again, not my favorite in the series. I think my favorite in the series might be the 3rd one, because the 3rd one kept me hooked from the very very start. But I still really really enjoyed this, and I still really loved the ending. I still love the characters, and like this whole series that Kerry put together, like combining the history of these these serial killers that like existed at this time, and combining this series with it, and the whole forensic science aspect of it as well. I really really enjoyed that, because it is basically about this young woman in the 18th century who wants to be a forensic scientist, and obviously she faces a lot of battles in that, and she basically teams up with her uncle and this lovely gentleman called Thomas Creswell, who you need to know about because he's just amazing. And yeah, they just basically like, you know, solve mysteries together. And yeah, this last one was good. Not my favorite in the series. I would probably say the 3rd one is my favorite, but I still really really enjoyed the series overall, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. The next one that I read was to read a book with LGBTQ plus rep, and I read one of my favorite books of this year, and that is Heartbreak Boys by Simon James Green. I have a full review of this on my channel if you want to watch it. I'll try and leave it linked down below, and I posted it on Twitter, and Simon James Green himself actually watched it and like retweeted me and everything and thanked me for it. So like that made my day. I really love that. And yeah, so if you want my full thoughts and feels about this book, go and check out my review. But it's basically about these two young boys. One of them gets dumped by his boyfriend, and the other one is just has just recently come out as gay. And the guy that he thought that he was in love with basically betrayed him, and they kind of decide to somewhat get their revenge on the two that did them wrong. So that's really I'm going to tell you. If you want to know more, look at my review. But all in all, I adored this book so much. I adore everything that Simon James Green has written, and this was wonderful. 5 out of 5 stars for Heartbreak Boys. And the very last book that I'm going to talk about for this wrap up was to read a book written by a author of color. And I actually just finished this book this morning, so proud of myself. But that was Shadow of Kyoshi by FCE. This is a sequel to the Rise of Kyoshi. If you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you're familiar with Kyoshi. It's basically just, it's like a little duology, just basically about her background and her coming into her powers as the Avatar, and basically sort of accepting the mantle that is this like really prestigious, almost political position that she's in. Like this, the first one was kind of all about her discovering who she was as the Avatar and like gaining her powers and like learning how to like bend all the different elements and whatnot. But this one got a little bit more political because obviously she's in a position now that's quite higher than a lot of people, and she's learning more and more about the world that she's living in and who she has to associate with and who she can trust and whatnot. So I would highly recommend this little duology for anyone who is a fan of Avatar, and honestly I would totally read another book within Kyoshi's storyline because this ending did feel pretty open-ended. So if there is a third one on the horizon, I would not say no. If you've never watched Avatar before, you've no idea what I'm talking about. But I watch Avatar, the TV show, and then read this little duology because it's just, it's wonderful. It's great. All in all, I think I wasn't really sure how to rate this one. I think I gave the first one 4. And I gave this one 4 on Goodreads, but it's quite short. It's not, I mean, I wouldn't, it's, anyway, I'm confused about how I want to rate it, but in the end, I just gave it 4 out of 5 stars because that just seemed the good enough rating to give it, because I did have a really good time reading it. I love this world so much. And yeah, I would definitely read more books within Kyoshi's timeline, or even just like more books in general set within the Avatar world. And obviously FCE is an Asian author, so that completed that prompt. So yeah, that is it for my wrap up for the Introverted Reader Readathon. Thank you for sticking with me. If you took part in the Readathon, please let me know. And if next time we do this Readathon next year in September, God willing, if we have our shit together, and if any of you wants to help host it with me, or like do Twitter sprints and stuff like that, or you know, just want to help me out next time that we do it, I would love that. Anyway, my Twitter, my Instagram, down below as always. Please subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all in my next video, which is going to be my October TBR, which is very, very ambitious, but yeah, you'll see. Bye.